Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. We got the whole fam here. Ashley, Cooper. We even got the doggos. Maple is probably gonna puke before we even go. It's been a bit since taking her camping. Like I've said in the last few videos, last 2 years kind of were crazy. So if anyone's wondering, she still pukes every time. So we're gonna deal with lots of puke. I got this whole thing in here, got the rig loaded out. I'm gonna kind of talk probably a lot more about everything we got going on once we get to camp, but it'll be first time camping in the LX. Only the second or third time camping with Cooper. The other times have been in the Sprinter van, so it's been a little more of a home. So this got a ground tent actually, and a little inflatable mattress and a bunch of other stuff going on here. I've had a heck of a time getting loaded up and ready to go, but we gotta go because gotta swing by the grocery store, grab a couple things. Hopefully I have everything. I don't know. If not, we'll survive. We will survive. But this is a trip that we almost didn't go on because we're like, it's a lot of work. A lot of work, taking the dogs, dealing with puke, making sure Cooper's got everything he needs. Ashley is pregos.
Why you gotta lie to them? I'm just fat.
Well, she's just a little chunky. She had Chipotle today. So she hasn't been feeling great either. So she's being a trooper, and even though she'd rather be home in the comfort of her own home, lounging, we're gonna go camp. So hopefully we find a nice spot. I'm gonna go, I don't have a spot in mind. I have kind of some fallback spots in mind. I'm gonna go down this little trail. It's not much of a trail, but I've done it before, only in the snow, and there wasn't anyone in the snow, but we'll see how crowded it is. But we gotta get going, so I'll catch you in a sec. What? You got a rock? Yeah. Mwah. So summer camping is alive and well in Colorado right now because there's about 24 spots that I kind of knew of that I was hoping to get, and they were all filled with campers. But at the very end of an offshoot, we found a nice open spot with actually pretty nice views around. Got some, I don't know what 14er, I forget the name, but some 14ers way off in the distance. This is a very wide angle lens, so unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to see it much. But we're gonna get set up here soon. Coop's doing his favorite thing, picking up rocks. So anyway, really nice spot. Please, whenever you're on a trail, do respect these signs that they put in. No motor vehicles, though I don't understand why they put them there instead of right in the middle. That's a miss, often the case. Maybe so Forest Service can get up there. But when you see this, just respect it. Otherwise, when people don't respect it, more trails get closed. Plus, this is a nice little spot down here. Again, really kind of beautiful views all around. Beautiful view of the Lexus. It's kind of funny, the dirt, the dust on the Java brown wrap. When you get close, obviously you can tell super dusty, but when you're kind of further away, it's like, oh, looks like interesting like accent shadows. Anyway, what we have is a fully loaded roof up here. Pretty loaded back here, camping bin, some other stuff that I'll show you soon. I flew a little bit of drone. I'll try to fly more drone tomorrow. We were just trying to get to a spot. Sun's already behind the mountains, so we got in a little bit late. Up top, on the up top rack, which by the way, these handles that I was kind of saying I didn't know, I use them all the time, so big fan. I put a bunch of other little tie-down points on here. Anyway, what we got is Free Spirit Hub Tent. This is all of our bedding and pillows and blankets and stuff. This is actually another double sleeping bag that I just threw in here. Pelican case that has a couple of chairs inside. I went back and forth and then secured it with a single perfect bungee. Love these things. And that was able to go all the way across. Put little carabiners in here so I could pass the rope through, and a carabiner over there, and then back to here. So I'll undo all of that. I actually did bring a little ladder so I could get up there a little easier. Eventually, hopefully, I'll have a bumper that we'll see. Either we'll have a ladder or I may use it all for storage, but the idea is to kind of be able to get up there. So I'll just kind of show you before I start setting up the tent. Got the baby seat in here. I kind of have the heavier stuff strapped down with the seat belt. This is kind of held in place with the back of the seat. That's camera gear and whatnot. The front seat, relatively, we got some cookies and other stuff, but man, this thing on smooth, on these washboard roads, this is the hydraulic assisted suspension. So smooth. Probably my smoothest riding car. So Ash and Coop and the dogs are exploring. I did give Maple a little bit of CBD and a little bit of, I think it's Bonine anti-nausal pills, and there's no puke. It's incredible, no puke. Maple, you did such a good job. That's your first trip, actually, without puking, honestly. Looks like my little thing ripped. I kind of had some of this stuff held up, so may have to reevaluate this. But basically what I did here was throw this on top of a bunch of gear, inflatable mattress, some tent stuff, some ground mat, and their dog bed to kind of flatten this area out. I think eventually I'm gonna build a minimal platform because this will give me a lot more room to carry stuff. What I'm finding is tight on space, especially when I have 2 car seats in the back, 2 dogs taking up the whole back. I think I'll need to build a little platform and then store a bunch of little stuff underneath. But thankfully, have the roof rack to store a bunch of other gear. So I'm gonna get set up. So like I mentioned, this first trip with the LX, really first trip where Cooper doesn't have the van. First trip since he's been walking, and he just loves picking up sticks and rocks. And the dogs haven't been out for a while. I haven't used any of this equipment I'm about to be setting up, so it's gonna get dark soon. So I'm gonna pull all this stuff off the roof so I can start kind of basically situating the tent What I have for you guys today is a Free Spirit Hub Tent with, we'll see if I use it, basically a Car Connect annex. So we're gonna be sleeping in a ground tent, and it's gonna be connected maybe to an annex room, essentially, that kind of connects to the back of the Lexus. Here, babe. It's pretty light. So I got a little compression sack with a sleeping bag. This is a waterproof duffel bag here. Oops. And then I got the big ground tent, which I'll just carry down the ladder, I think. What's up, bud? So I think the best way to do this is find the best spot for the tent, set the tent up, and then kind of back the Lexus into place. So we're gonna do that. Sorry, forgot to set up the tripod, but these tents are hub tents. This is one of the flatter spots, I think, that I'll be able to kind of pull up the car to. So essentially, pops out, pops out, pops out, pops up. And then this door doesn't have a hub. Some hub tents pop out all the same, and then you have this weird little kind of triangle door that you kind of sneak through. Free Spirit has it just opened up. Some of that is so it can connect with kind of a modular setup. So I'm gonna pull the Lexus back a little bit. And the other thing I've never used is called the Car Connect. So it's designed to kind of create a room in between your main tent area and the back of the SUV. So, I don't know, sounded interesting. Gonna try it out. And that basically connects, it zips into this. So kind of a little bit of a modular feature there going on. These walls will roll up if you want to just kind of have mesh and light. Otherwise, it's pretty dark in here, kind of by intention. A lot of the Free Spirit stuff is just, can go for total blackout. Okay, but I'm gonna back the Lexus up and see. All right, we try and fail to be those no screen time parents. Every once in a while, I put something on for him. We rolled in a little later than expected. So we got the whole thing set up now though. The Car Connect, I don't know if I did it fully right. I still gotta like connect that tire to it. But basically gives a room in between there. It is not typically, I'm not typically a ground tenter. So this is a lot to set up for someone who typically just pops a tent and goes, but we got the Jetboil Genesis set up, gonna make some food. I was wanting to just make some peak meals, but I think I'll have some peak dessert. Ashley's Prego belly is super picky, so she needs certain things. So we're making some shredded chicken tacos. So anyway, this is kind of the in between the hatch of the back seat. So the dogs will probably sleep back here. All right, sorry, it's a little too dark in here to film. I got my headlamp on now. So anyway, back in here, this is a queen inflatable mattress. It actually has a built-in pump. So I am going to pump that up. Rest of our stuff. To pump it up, it needs 110 power. I actually have 110 power, but it's only 100 watts, and this pulls a little more than 100 watts. The LX570, pretty old school inverter. So anyway, here, this is the oops, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, Exodus 600. So I talk about lots of expensive, super high-end batteries on the channel, and you guys complain about it a lot. So this is actually the cheapest unit I have ever laid hands on. So it's super affordable, coming in at under $150 at launch. By the time this video posts, it will launch. They sent this to me, but quick spec here. 600 watts of AC. It's got 2 USBs, 1 USB-C, not super high wattage. I believe it's an 18 watt USB-C, 12 volt, 10 amps, so your standard cigarette lighter port over here. Inputs, I like to see it. This is a standard input, standard power input, no power brick or anything, so any of your standard power inputs will work. This is the solar port. I believe it can handle 250 watts of solar, charges at 300 watts as well. The only kind of lame thing is it's an actual fuse back here that if you overload it, it will trip. But I've actually done quite a bit with it without it tripping, and I'm about to blow up this mattress. Anyway, if you're looking for kind of just an entry-level unit, it's got some things to like. Got the handle that folds down, nice form factor there. And then I believe it's 1200 watt surge on the AC outlet, 256 watt hour capacity, Life PO4 batteries, so that's nice. But yeah, if you just need like a relatively cheap, lightweight, small unit to just kind of charge some devices, maybe run a little heated blanket for a little while, or have some AC outputs, super portable, super cheap. Again, 256 watt hours isn't going to run anything for super, super long, but if you just need kind of a little bit of power, affordable. I'll link it below. All right, so this thing has its own cable that comes off of the unit. Sorry, hard to shine the camera and my headlamp. And then you just turn it on, I believe, twist it. All right, there we go. All right, I'm just going auto white balance. So all these different lights going crazy. So we got the mattress inflated. This is actually kind of cool. It was definitely a lot of work compared to just popping a rooftop tent to set up. But once it's going, it's pretty nice. Got the up top rock lights, amber going on the sides, which is nice. So those are on both sides. I actually put out quite a bit of light, but it's nice while we're kind of setting up camp here. So what do we got? We got quesadillas, actually. Quesadillas.
Big ones.
And the white balance is crazy. It's more yellow out here. You see the sky looks so blue. Well, it's a little blue, but it's definitely a little more ambery and yellowy out here than normal. So kind of got all the gear set up. I didn't bring a table. That's the one thing that might be nice. I'll talk more when we kind of break down the Weekenderlanders in the driveway, do some kind of gear talk, some planning and whatnot of what I want to do back here, but just kind of wanted to give you an update of what's going on. So this is a queen size bed. Looks like probably like a twin would fit here. I think it's 8 foot by 8 foot, these tents. They got a couple others actually, which are like 2 stacked, which might be nice when we take Isabella out camping, give her kind of her own space. So I was thinking the dogs were gonna sleep in here, but maybe I'll just throw them over there or in this area. I think there is a floor you can kind of put in here, or at least a mat. So I have the floor in here. This is just kind of an in-between zone, but it's covered. So if it was like raining out or snowing or something, this is kind of a nice little area, especially if you maybe have a sleeping platform, like a second sleeping area in the back of this. So actually, like I said earlier, despite the extra work in setting up, it is a pretty sweet little setup when it's going. These string lights are cheapos that are my favorite right now. They kind of roll into this spool. I'll show them later when we're not using them, but you just super easy setup. So I have one set up out here, and then another one is what you saw in there. Oh, thank you for the stick, bud. So yeah, I think I'm gonna quit filming for a bit, but I just kind of wanted to show you the setup, and now I'm gonna just hang out, eat some food, hang out with the fam. We got time on our side, and when I stay home, I need you on my thigh. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find. heat up a little bit of water. I'm gonna do that for breakfast. And this for a little dessert. Oh, yes. Hi, bud.
I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise. That with you I feel alive. You'll be the last one I think about.
Well, the color's kind of...
Taste? Mountain Cobb?
Hold on. That's better.
That's some more. Delish. All right, well, night's kind of winding down. I think we're just gonna sit by the fire for a little bit, hang out. Dogs will beg for a little bit of food. And then I will probably catch you guys in the morning. Good morning. We slept okay. Survived the night. It was actually pretty comfortable. A little cheap inflatable mattress. Again, I'll kind of give you a little more thorough breakdown at the end of all this stuff. But while it's set up, here it is. So this is the car connect here, and then this is the hub tent. I don't know what it's called, the 4 hub tent. And then the Lexus got just a little Helinox and generic Helinox. These fit up in the Pelican case. She's bringing the camping bin out. That's the only thing probably missed is no table. So I'll have to figure out a compact table for this setup and where to put it. I think I have a tire table laying around somewhere. Anyway, here is the back entrance into. All right, so here is coming in. This is kind of between the tent and the tailgate area. So this is kind of, we had some chairs in here in the Pelican case at night, and I was hanging out here while Ashley was kind of setting up and the dogs were whatever. And you come in the door here. So then this is just this cheap inflatable mattress, you know, the whole thing inflates and it's a foot, 16 inches or whatever off the ground. I brought a memory foam topper as well. So this is actually a pretty comfortable sleeping experience. This is the dog bed, and then kind of enough room for a little walkway behind. This is pushed all the way there, and then kind of a spot for our bags and everything. So this was actually really nice for 2 dogs, kid, us kind of brushing and going in and out and getting stuff. So this was actually, once all set up, an honestly more ideal kind of setup for family dogs than if we were up in a rooftop tent, and pregnant wife especially. Ashley's at the point now where she'd be able to go up and down the ladder pretty easily, but it would be a little more of a pain for sure. So anyway, this setup really kind of an A+ setup. I haven't done family camping, dogs, everything out in the wilderness in a ground tent. Well, really ever, because Cooper, I mean, I did when I was younger with my family, but with my current family, never. So what we're doing for breakfast, probably heat up some water, make this, like I was talking about earlier, peaches and oats. Ashley wanted some other stuff as well. So a lot of times what we'll do when we're lazy, even though we have our own chickens and good eggs and all this stuff, sometimes when we're just easy, we get one of these like Hungry Jack or whatever microwavable breakfast. Yeah, we'll add our own eggs. Ashley brought some eggs, but you know, just to make it a little easier on ourselves. Usually add a little more cheese, a little more eggs, but kind of use that as a base. Again, like I was talking about last night, easy. We're just using the little Pelican 8-quart cooler. Got a little storage area in the top, and it's a nice size for just little stuff. If you're ever wondering, it does fit a half gallon of milk on its side will fit. What you got there? Yeah, is that what you want? All right, so we brought some eggs from home. We ordered actually some new chickens to have more colors. We got a blue and some light browns and darker browns. Anyway, so yeah, this is just the pre-made base. Add some cheese to it, you know, to taste, and then add some eggs to taste. Where egg is like the best, you know, it's all coming out that egg is like the best food, the best form of protein. So anyway, I've been eating more eggs in my diet. Oh, sometimes you get feathers left on the eggs. Creamy peaches and oats. It's pretty good. It's just, you know, oatmeal with peaches essentially, except really good and like 30 grams of protein in there. Here's a new one for you, especially if you live in Colorado. Sprouts is now carrying Drive can coffee in the refrigerated section. So I believe they have 3 flavors. One is the vanilla latte, this one right here. They have just straight up cold brew. And then my favorite is the mocha. So, except there's a Jeep on it, whatever. Just kidding. But the mocha is my favorite. So you got kind of this Moab-inspired artwork, arches. Anyway, these are now available at your Colorado Sprouts. So I encourage you guys to swing into a Sprouts. Try out every flavor if you're a coffee drinker. I will tell you, some people try those and they're expecting like super high sugar, like Frappuccino type drink. They're not. They're more for coffee drinkers. So they're like lightly sweetened. I believe the whole can is like 80 calories or something like that. So if you're expecting diabetes in a can, like a lot of coffee is, you're not gonna get it. Just a heads up. All right, we're hanging out for a few hours. It's getting late already. So gotta get home. It's about the boys' nap time. So I'm thinking he's gonna just sleep on the whole way home. But yeah, the setup was actually really good. I always forget how much I hate taking down tents and packing bedding and all that stuff. So got all that put away. A lot of that's up on the roof, which is nice. I think probably right before this video, a video or two before, I probably did kind of a setup talking about the roof rack. So if you're curious about that up top rack, I have a whole video on it. The dogs are back here. I gave Maple some medicine again, so we'll see if we can get another trip of no puking. That would be nice. Cooper had the time of his life playing with rocks and sticks and throwing rocks and dropping dirt into my boots and all kinds of stuff. Truck's pretty loaded up. I'll do kind of a breakdown, like I said. I think I've said a couple times in this video once I'm back in the old driveway, but man, I really like this thing. Really like this thing. Don't forget, as always, pick up your trash and whatever loser left their trash before you. Like I always say, trash leaves trash. So don't be trash. I got some leftovers here and take back home to the chickens. And we are ready to roll. You ready to roll, babe?
Yep, ready to roll.
All right, beautiful spot. Keep it clean and we'll sync up back in the driveway. All right, back home, pulled into the barn so that the light is a little less harsh. So hopefully I have enough room for all of this. LX did awesome, man. I love this. I love this vehicle more and more. I've done whole walk arounds of this on the channel. So if you're curious, 2008 LX570, if you're unfamiliar with this vehicle, I have a few videos worth watching just to talk about how good they are. But one of the recent additions I did here was this up top rack. I believe, I already filmed the video. I believe it's on my channel. I'm not sure if I'm posting these in some out of order sequence, but I'm guessing if you want more info on that rack specifically and like how the Pelican case is mounted and some other stuff, I probably have a video of that already on the channel. If not, it'll be like the next one. But I think it's on the channel already. When it comes to an SUV, I mean, when it comes to a truck that I'm definitely gonna be using on the trail and everything too, I like a roof rack. I'm undecided whether I'll put one on the Tundra or not, with kind of a little more daily driver focus. But one thing's for sure, every SUV needs a roof rack in my opinion. So this kind of the family rig, like I talked about probably earlier in this video, eventually we're gonna have 2 car seats and maybe even another kid in the back, plus us, plus dogs. So we need lots of storage. So let me just hop up on top of this tire and show you how things are secured down. So this is the Free Spirit Hub Tent on the other side here. This is an Ortlieb waterproof bag. I like this one just because it has a zipper instead of the roll tops. I don't know if they make this. I've had this bag for, I don't know, 7 years maybe. I'm not sure if they make it anymore, but I like orange waterproof bag. This is basically our bedding bag. So in here, I actually have the inflatable mattress, 3 pillows, fitted sheet, and maybe a couple other little things all fit in this bag. Then this, I just have a compression bag with a double size sleeping bag. And this is all strapped down with just a single perfect bungee. These are some of my favorites. I also like the Front Runner Snatchets, but these are a little longer. So you can do something like strap everything onto your roof with one. Now, you gotta be a little cognizant of how you're gonna get this rope through, because the little clips on the ends and this thing won't fit through your standard kind of rings or anything like that. These are product that Up Top sells, but it's all the same. So what I do is just run a carabiner, then I can fish it through here and then just strap. So I have a couple carabiners that are doing duty like that, strapping everything down, Pelican case mounted solid. But you know, I could fit even more on here, and the sound deadening in the LX is so good that cruising down the highway is like, you don't hear any of that stuff at all. So rack was very cool. The inside isn't the best. So this is my one camping bin. I've actually done a whole video on this inside of the Pelican, I believe they're called the TX. This is the TX80, I think. They're Adventure Series cases. This has everything I need for camping, to include all the cooking supplies, kettle, Jetboil Genesis base can. We got axe, hatchet, bear spray, paper towels. You get like kind of everything in one grab and go bin. Even it's got a little propane canister, fire extinguisher. So kind of this is everything that I need to go camping. That typically lives in the back of the Tacoma, which is really my main camping vehicle, all in this case. Now I think eventually, like I've said before, I'm gonna have a Descent dual rear swing out, and one of them I'm doing with an area to put a bin like that. So I'm hopeful that this bin will be able to actually be mounted exterior full-size spare is underneath if I stick with these 34-inch tires. So I'll be able to move this and most of this stuff outside of the vehicle, which will be nice. I do have this strapped down with a seat belt. Not the most secure thing, but they're kind of carabiner together to kind of hold it in place in case I get a little rollover or something. This is not ideal. So some people don't really think about it. I think about it a lot, and sometimes I just gotta go with it and not be crazy. But if you get into a car accident or something, all of this stuff is gonna fly around. So this would be a non-ideal scenario, especially with a baby back here. So don't necessarily do as I do here, do as I say. I would try and strap all this stuff down more securely, but a lot of it is kind of wedged behind seats and whatnot. We have just a diaper bag in here. This is my Vertex duffel bag that had kind of all of Cooper's stuff, my stuff, and Ashley's stuff all in one bag. I think we fished paper towels out for something. That over here is my Pelican case. That's where all my camera equipment lives, right back there. This is the little Pelican cooler that I showed earlier, down wedged in there. This is the memory foam topper that I may not be able to get out of here anymore, honestly, so I'll need to see. I just threw this on top of the inflatable mattress. Like I said earlier, I'll link to kind of everything of relevancy that I'm talking about here. The battery is kind of wedged under there. This is just some old Arctic big, I think it's like a gallon of water jug that I'll bring occasionally if I don't have some other better way to bring it. Usually I bring a bigger jug, but I was kind of limited on size. And you're like, Mike, well, why are you limited on size? You got the whole back of the SUV. That's kind of true, except that I have a big dog, a 100-pound dog, and then a smaller dog, you know, about 30 pounds. And I just let him have this whole area. Back here, I got this thing off of Amazon, which kind of covers everything. And Maple actually didn't puke this trip on the way out or the way back. And so I've tried prescription meds, I've tried ginger chews, I've tried everything. Don't feed them for a while, or any food or drink, CBD, everything I have tried. And I don't know if it's by chance, but this time I used this thing called Mornin, I believe, B-O-N-I-N-E, I think. And it might have been a recommendation from a commenter or a viewer, someone, when I was talking about one of my dog's car sicknesses. Anyway, I gave her that before, and she didn't puke. And that was like the first time I've taken her on a drive where she hasn't puked. Gave her one on the way back as well. Again, windy mountain roads, didn't puke again. So Mornin, if you've tried everything, and I've tried prescription, veterinary prescription stuff, whatever that was called, I think I've got 2 of them, and she's still puked. But this, again, I don't know if it's just by chance, coincidence, but I took her on a trip, just like to the gas station and back, and she puked all over the place. So that was a week ago. I was kind of prepping her for this trip a few times, and I took her on 2 trips in the last week. Short trips, puked all over the place both times. This trip, longer trip with the Mornin, didn't puke. So that was pretty nice. So anyway, what you're seeing back here is basically the whole rear that I'm using for the dogs. What I think I will do eventually, let me just pull this off a little bit. So I did put their dog bed out on there, and then a few things I was able to fit on the side. Like this was that's the car accessory that like comes off of the hitch. This is actually a big mat that we didn't even end up using. But what I think I'll want to do, I have the 3rd row out of here, is build a platform that's like right above the wheel well. And I think that gives about 10 inches, maybe 9 inches underneath it. And then I would put like a mat or something on top and maybe use this same cover. And then I would at least get 1 row to utilize storage back here, and that would help a ton. So I think I'm gonna just build a really rudimentary platform that I can kind of throw in and out real quick that kind of just ties down to the native tie-down straps, kind of tie-down areas we have back here. So some full width, 10 inches high to clear the wheel well covers. And then I'll get basically a shelf that the dogs will still have. I kind of measured him out. I was sitting him here and seeing how much room he had. And I think if I do that, it'll give me enough room to really store quite a bit of stuff and still have the dogs back here. The reason I don't have like a drawer system or something more permanent is this is the only third row vehicle we have. So if someone has a party or I have family coming from the airport or something that requires more seating, I do want to be able to throw the third row back in here without much effort. But anyway, that's what's going on in the back, and that's kind of the future plans in the back. I might even want to do a really minimal like foldable ones where I can fold these seats down. It would need to be a little bit higher, and then I could have a sleeping platform back here. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again because rooftop tents and ground tents are pretty good, but that's like another option I was kind of thinking about. So anyway, that's kind of what we got going on back here. This is the Free Spirit 180 awning, which we parked in the trees, so I didn't need to deploy this trip. Working on some new awning brackets for that as well. But man, it was a great success. This thing is so smooth. I think I said it while we were out there, but I usually drive in normal mode. So the LX570, LX470 have hydraulically assisted suspension, not air suspension, hydraulic. So super beefy and robust, and most people that know what they're talking about love it. Some people don't, and some people rip them out and put in traditional suspension. But let me tell you, if I'm really carving like mountain roads, you know, it's a 6,000 pound SUV, so I'm not really ever carving. But if I want to tighten up the suspension, I go into sport. Usually I'm driving around normal. When I'm out on washboard off-road roads, I go into comfort. And let me tell you, this is the smoothest ride of my vehicles, like not airing down the tires, just flipping that switch, and it just coasts. So loving that. Oh, I said I was gonna show you them earlier in the video, never did. These are the string lights, not sponsored in any way. I just bought these off of Amazon, but pretty cheap. Battery life isn't amazing, and I wish they did dim, but it has, I don't know if you can tell, the string lights are all wrapped up in here, and there's some different modes. The modes are all kind of junk, so I usually just leave them on solid. They really need to make better modes. Then has a flashlight out the front as well with some different modes. But it could be better. I forget if it's magnetic. No, not magnetic or anything. So I really just use this for the string light portion. So the string just pulls out. So the whole thing will pull out like that. Has this nice little hook on the end so you can hook it on a branch or on the car or whatever. And then each of these individual dots are lights, obviously. So if you can see, gives off a pretty good amount of light. I wish it was dimmable, but then it has a built-in reel, and then you just reel it back in. And so it's nice and compact. So I do like string lights, especially when I'm going out with a family, to kind of just give a certain ambiance. And I've tried a bunch and actually bought like 5 different kinds on Amazon just to test them for personal evaluation. And these ones are my favorite. Again, it's a bummer they can't dim down and the battery life isn't amazing, but I think it's around 20 bucks. So for the price, it could not be beat. I have a couple of them. I don't even know the brand, but I'll link them down below. Probably my favorite string lights right now. All right, well, I think that's it, guys. I know this was kind of a lot of gear talk, but for those that don't know, I do a lot of gear talk on the channel and a new platform, so I always love kind of talking more about it, how it's been working out, how I plan to kind of evolve it for use cases, how it'll kind of work into the vehicles that I have. So, loving it. I did want to ask you guys, so a lot of people have been asking me for years, ever since I started camping, to get a little trailer, whether that's like a teardrop trailer or just like a gear storage trailer with a rooftop on tent, or maybe a teardrop with a rooftop tent on top. And I've always been like, there's no point. I never need more stuff than what I can take. I'm been kind of a, I mean, not a super minimalist, obviously, but kind of a minimalist. Like I don't need to bring a bunch of gear with me, but as what I need to fit in the car increases, thus my need for carrying gear outside of the car also increases. And then also, the more people I have, the more sleeping systems and lounge and everything that I need to set up for them. That takes a lot of time, and I don't like setting up and tearing down that much. So all that kind of leads me to saying, like, maybe I will evolve into a trailer person, even though I've poo-pooed trailers in the past. I don't like little trailers, even small trailers, because I like to take random like I see a little offshoot and I'm like, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna see where it goes. You know, you drive by dirt, where's that go? And a trailer adds some complexity with that, because you can't just back a trailer up a quarter mile on an off-road crazy trail to get out of there. And if you don't have a good spot to turn around on a trailer, especially in Colorado, shelf roads and stuff like that, then they can be problematic. So I'd only want to bring a trailer when I like have a set destination in mind and I kind of know whether the trailer's going to fit and I won't need to turn around. I won't hit a snow drift that I didn't know about, or a tree that was down that I don't have the equipment to remove, though I should just bring a chainsaw with me all the time. So anyway, trailers have their cons, but I'm getting to the point in my life, especially when I have 2 little kids and 2 dogs and a wife that, you know, she's handling the kids, and then I'm setting up on my own. Maybe a trailer is starting to make more sense to me. So if you've had experience with trailers, if you've seen some setups that just look great, I'm not going to be a guy that's just going out by myself with a trailer. I think that's dumb. But when I'm rolling with the full family, maybe a trailer makes sense. But I am also planning to build this bus out still. If you haven't seen it, it's the F550 like passenger van that I'm going to build out. So that'll really be the big, long, huge vehicle, but that still can go a lot of places and smaller technically than like the LX pulling even a tiny trailer. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on it. Video's getting too long. I appreciate you watching. Leave me a comment down below. Thoughts, feedback. You loved it, you hated it, got recommendations. You say, oh, I got 3 kids in car seats and 2 dogs, and this is what I love to do. I would love to hear it. Thank you for watching, as always. And until next time, take care.